The name of this topic is factoring a product of a quadratic trinomial and a monomial. Here's the question. We're asked to factor this completely, and here's the problem. Don't be intimidated by the title of this topic. It sounds like it's going to be tough, but actually it's not. So when we factor, we want to do this. We want to look for, are there any common factors in 4u to the 7th, 20u to the 6th, and 64u to the 5th? Well, let's take it one by one. Let's do the numbers, and then we'll do the u's separately. Well, 4 goes into all three of these, which you see that pulled out here. And in all of these, here if we have 7 u's multiplied together, here we have 6 of them, and here we have 5 of them. That means they all have at least 5. So we're going to pull 5 of them out here. Now what we put in the parentheses is, if this was the distributive property, which it actually is, what would we have to multiply 4u to the 5th by to get what we started with? And that would be u squared. Now we're going to take 4u to the 5th times something to get 20u to the 6th. Well, that will be 5u. 4 times 5 is 20. U to the 5th times u is u to the 6th. Now we need to know, well, what do we multiply 4u to the 5th by to get 64u? Well, that's just 16 because the u to the 5th is taken care of. 4 times 16 is 64. This, what we have in here, cannot be factored anymore, so we're done. So this is the final answer. Okay, let's solve another one. Now we're asked to factor this. 30x to the 4th minus 30x to the 3rd plus 75x squared. So what we want to look for is common factors for all three of these. So let's start with just the numerical part. 3, 30, and 75. Well, I can tell that 3 will go into all of those. Now let's look at the x part. X to the 4th, x to the 3rd, x squared. I know those all have at least x squared in them. So when we factor it out, it will look like this. We take the 3x squared, which was a common factor to all of them, put it in front, parenthesis, and then we have to put the terms in here that we would multiply by 3x squared to get the numbers that we started with. So to make 3x to the 4th, we would have to multiply 3x squared by x squared. To get 30x to the 3rd, we'd have to multiply 3x squared times 10x. This subtraction sign is in here because that's what was in here. Plus sign, so now we have a plus sign. To get 75x squared, we would have to multiply 3x squared by 25. So now what we want to do is ask ourselves, all right, if we're asked to factor this, can this be factored any further? And yes, it can. Here you see that factored into x minus 5 times x minus 5, which would give us this. X minus 5 times itself, note there's 2 of them, would be x minus 5 squared. So then here we have our final answer. And that is how you solve factoring a product of a quadratic trinomial and a monomial.